Hello, welcome to GCSE Biology, higher tier, paper 2, 2018 series. So it says, for this paper you must have a ruler, a scientific calculator. Use black ink or black ballpoint pen. That's because the paper gets scanned after you filled it in your real exam and sent to people to mark anonymously. So sometimes they don't get the whole paper, they just get certain questions. And so all they'll get is a question. If it's not in dark enough ink, it won't scan and they won't be able to see what you've written. So that's why they say that there. So a dark colour, usually black is the one that's preferred. It will show up. Fill in the boxes so we know it's got our names. Answer all questions. So even if it's a guess, just try and answer it because you might be right. Okay, I've done that before, been right able to guess something. Do all rough work in the book. Cross through any work you do not want to be marked. In all calculations, show clearly how you work out your answer, because even though it's biology, but there is still some maths in it, so we do calculate and there'll be workings out. There are 100 marks available on the paper. Marks of questions we'll see as we go along are shown in brackets. You can use a calculator, whatever, even if it's the simplest calculation, you can use a calculator for. I'd recommend it. Okay, in sciences, you're always allowed a calculator because it's the method they're testing, not your mental maths there. Okay, it's a method of which you do so. Your working is most of the marks. Okay, that's why I go through these papers. With the graphics tab, but you'll see me draw the things because it's the actual working and the thinking in science that actually gets you the marks. Okay, so let's get on with some questions then. Number 1. Many human actions are reflexes. Which two of the following are examples of reflex actions? Tick 2 boxes. So jumping in the air to catch a ball. You have to kind of think about that, don't you? Raising a hand to protect the eyes in bright light. Closing the eyes would be a reaction. Maybe not that. Releasing saliva when food enters the mouth. Okay, so that's what these reactions are, reflexes. You don't consciously think about it. Okay, it's just it happens. Okay, so that will be one of them. Oh, let's put my pencil on. Okay, running away from danger. Again, you have to really sort of think about that. Okay, because there is a conscious thought process that goes into that. Withdrawing the hand from a sharp object. Yes, because you think about it. If you accidentally touch on a thorn on a plant, your hand just goes back. Okay, because sometimes if you've got a cat and a cat, like it comes up to you, accidentally put your claws in it, you sort of withdraw a little bit, and you just like so yeah, that's a reflex. You don't think about it, or even touching a hot surface is like that too. If you touch or accidentally touch a stove or something, your hand draws back. That's a reflex. You have to think about it, and it's very quick. Right, figure 1 shows the size of the pupil of the human eye can change by reflex action. A, pupil, so this is a dark bit, and it's smaller than B. Name one stimulus that would cause the pupil to change in size. So stimulus is an outside effect from A to B as shown in figure 1. I mean, straight away, I always think bright light. Okay, think about a cat, there's a cat theme going on, that a cat's pupils, okay, get very thin, they go like a slit in bright light, okay, like a light shone on them. Turn your phone on in the dark, the cat's in your room, you see its pupils, it's called either they contract, they get smaller if there's a light shone on it, because obviously your own eyes, you don't notice it as much, but usually other people's eyes or cats or animals' eyes, they're very reactive. So bright light would be one. So that would be my immediate thought. Okay, that's one you see most often. Sometimes you can have a correctly named drug, shows, but because actually I didn't know these two. So morphine or heroin would also do that, but that's not obviously well known. Bright light is the usual effect of that. Okay, because different drugs cause different reactions. So sometimes it might be good to keep with bright light. Okay, structure Q causes the change in the size of the pupil. Okay, structure Q. Okay, the coloured bit of the eye. It's black and white, you can't see it's the coloured bit of the eye. Name structure Q. So that's the iris. The pupil is really just a hole. So the pupil itself, it's not a thing. It can't really move. It contracts the iris that does it. So the coloured bit of the eye is blue, black, so it's blue, brown, green, I mean that sort of colours, and the pupil is black. Okay, the iris, the word iris, okay, in Latin actually means colour. And so like iridium or irid something means rainbow, like coloured, sort of like a rainbow effect. Okay, it's got a colour to it. It's not obvious in this paper, which is black and white. Okay. Describe how structure Q causes the change in size of the pupil from A to B. Right, so that's bigger, and so the pupil's bigger there, and it gets smaller. So what happens is, yeah, it contracts. Somebody just said about to shine a light. You can do it in your own eye in the mirror. Okay, it's not a really bright light. It's like your phone light. You can see that your iris, you can see it move. Okay, it will contract. Okay, so yeah, so I've shown that in class before. So you get a mirror and say like, yeah, look in your own, or look in, or ask a partner like, yeah, don't shine too bright a light. But it's best to do it with all the curtains shut or the blinds shut, and then do it, or at night in the dark, like do it sort of thing. Because sometimes it's not in the daylight, you don't really notice it as much. Okay, describe how structure. So yeah, it contracts. So muscle, because the iris is a muscle. Muscle contracts. Okay. Figure 2 shows some structures involved in the coordination of a reflex action. Neuron A, receptor, goes all the way around. This is the spinal cord. Okay, so that's a cross section. Neuron B, neuron C, and effector. Okay, describe how the structures shown in figures 2, this one, help to coordinate a reflex action. This is 6 marks. So there's marks on the 6-mark question. There's marks for how you write it, as in your effective English, your communication skills, and the scientific facts. Okay, so they'll give you quite a lot of room, obviously, in an exam. So I've just sort of given us more room there. Okay, they do give you quite a bit of space. Okay, so what should we do first? So let's have a look. Let's start here, obviously. It's with receptors. So something is reception. You said the word recept. It's like its beginning isn't like reception in the building. So that's a clue. So receptor. Okay, so we're not told it's like the arm or the hand or. Okay, so we just say receptor detects what's in each foot. Okay. Detects stimulus, because that's what I said about that a reflex action doesn't always involve the brain. Okay, because that's what sounds like you don't actually even think about it. So something that's just your spinal cord. Okay, it doesn't actually even go to the brain sometimes. So it's not like a thinking thing. Okay. Okay, so this could be think about, I know, standing on your foot standing on a pin. Okay, so example, it will detect pressure. Pressure foot. I always remember when if I cut the hedge at the front of my house, it's like a really spiky hedge, and I'm always like, if you walk indoors, you shoot and do like bits of the hedge, stick to your foot, and then end up later on, you end up accidentally. This always happens. Always end up accidentally like standing on a thorn that's come from the hedge. It's like like that sort of thing. It's definitely a reflex. Say like a thorn always ends up on my foot or something. Okay, so example, pressure. We'll go for the thorn on a plant. Biology, so we'll go a biological example. It could be a pin, it could be anything. I'm just giving an example there. It's like hot, okay, we're not told exactly what it is, but we'll give an example, make it get clearer. So the receptor generates impulses. So these are electrical signals. Okay, so let's have that. So neurons, this one, So neurons, make sure the English was right there, so I'm looking at neurons conduct, so they carry them, don't they? So neurons conduct impulses to the spinal cord. Okay, I'm not careful what's there chord there, because if it's got H, that'd be a musical chord, but it's C-O-R-D, so like a chord, like you say, like a piece of rope. That's what spinal cords felt like, because it's thin, like a piece of rope, biological piece of rope. You know what I mean? But you remember. Okay, so neuron A is a sensory neuron. What's the next page? Neuron. Okay. So right, let's go out to the diagram. Right, okay, so it's a bit of a clue. There's like a little nucleus on there, so it's a sensory neuron. Right, okay, then we're going to get to the spinal cord into the synapse. Okay, so there's synapses between neurons. Okay, they actually have a chemical, are chemical transmitters. So across the synapse, it's a chemical transmitter. It's not electrical across the synapse. So that's how lots of painkilling drugs work, is that they affect the chemicals between synapses. Okay, so so this crosses the synapse. Okay, so let's go back to the diagram again. Because obviously we need to refer to the diagram to get all our marks. Remember, this is 6 marks, quite long, but the diagram is helping us in this one. So we've got neuron. So okay, so we've got to neuron B. Neuron B is a relay neuron. Okay, it goes between. Think about a relay race. Okay, that you pass the baton to somebody else. It's called a relay. So this is so neuron B is passing that signal along. So a impulse. So yeah, for 6 marks, you have to think quite carefully to what your marks. An impulse, because yeah, English is also important here. An impulse is stimulated in neuron B, relay neuron, okay, by the chemical signal. Okay. So let's have a look else. So neuron B, then happens to go crosses the synapse to neuron C. So you've got another synapse, a bit more room. So so the signal again is carried chemically over another synapse to neuron C. So neuron C is a motor neuron, so it does something. the neuron C. Okay, so nearly finished. So neuron C is a motor neuron. Okay, this causes the effector, in our case, we were standing on a fawn. So example, muscles of the leg. Make it wrong again. Oops. Muscles of the leg to contract. Contract to move away from fawn. Yeah, to make your life easier, okay, that I would choose, yeah, something if you do an example like something easy like that, or like touching something hot or things like that. Because there are obviously other ones like the mouth and saliva, but this one, I think that you think about motor, things that's like moving, don't you? It's like a motor is like moving part. So probably your hand touching something or something like that. Okay, or your foot, you're standing on something. That probably makes life a bit easier to choose that to do. So thank you for listening to this video. I'll continue in part 2. We'll talk about carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It's a completely different topic. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.